We're going to do a worksheet today. It's a CBT worksheet on how to shift our thoughts. So it's foundationally helping to understand that when you have certain thoughts, it's going to cause certain emotions, certain behaviors, and certain outcomes. And then when you have other thoughts, you're going to have different emotions, behaviors, and outcomes. So this just allows you to break it down. There's going to be other worksheets that we're going to be talking about more specific situations, but we're just weaning into this. And then following you can try it on your own. So I'm going to share this now, and we'll see how this goes. Okay. Let's see. And I think down here, I'm not sure if I'm doing this right. Let me just see here. Share. There we go. And I'm going to be there. And let's let's give it a go. Okay. This one's the one. All right. So this is the Lucid Spark whiteboard. This is what I use in practice. This is the worksheet we're going to be focusing on. Okay. So normally this worksheet is just one page, and then you kind of can break it down. But when I do this practice and in therapy, we have to like see that our shoes are untied, and then we need to tie them. So to see your shoes untied is to see the error in your thought, and how your thoughts are affecting your emotions and your behaviors. And then we need to give gentle correction, shift the thought. And then we also need to see, okay, what's that going to create? So tying your shoe is to change the thought, and you're going to have a different outcome walking with your shoes tied than untied, right? So that's why I do this worksheet. I do 2 worksheets in a session. So if someone's really stuck on a thought, that I'm not enough, I'm not a good parent, I'm not wanted, they're rejecting me, they don't love me, whatever the thought might be, we can experience how that affects you. And then we can also do, okay, if I didn't think this thought, what would it be like? And this is also the journal entry that we did on those kind of 4 or 5 questions about what's true. So establishing belief and then be able to shift it. So this exercise, I kind of pre-prepared it. See how this rolls. So if I thought I'm not lovable, I'm unlovable, I'm not enough, I have to be better to be enough, other people don't care about me. My sweet, cute spelling, aren't I adorable? Other people don't care about me. Um, Other people can hurt me. I need them to change for me to be happy. I deserve attack and I'm guilty. So you're not going to necessarily have all of these thoughts, but you're going to have some variation of them when you're having a thought that's causing you suffering. So when we're triggered, there's always a thought somehow deep down that we're not enough, or we're not lovable, or somehow that we're inadequate, or to even receive an attack or perceive an attack, you have to believe that that attack is real, which means that you have to somewhat believe what they're saying in order for it to trigger you to feel defensive. And the example that we use is that, would you get defensive if someone told you have like crazy, ugly, neon orange hair, right? Or purple hair or something like that, when you clearly don't. No, because you know that that's not true. So when we know that we are lovable and we are worthy, it changes everything. But we're going to start here. So I'm not lovable. I'm not enough. If this worksheet, I have it posted below. I will put directions to actually have it with you. If you don't have the worksheet printed out, you're welcome to follow along on here and keep pausing me after we do each step. Okay. So I'm not lovable, I'm not enough. So when we hold those thoughts, we're going to get these emotions. Okay. So you might feel anxious, depressed, rejected, humiliated, annoyed, disappointed, provoked, guilty, all kinds of things. So I'm going to put the feeling wheel up for you right now so you can just tap into your own emotions. And so there's the feeling wheel for you. You can go ahead and pause if you want to write down some of the emotions you feel based on the thoughts that you're holding right now that are causing you suffering. So feel free to do that. And so that's our thoughts. And then our behaviors. So this is what we do when we have these emotions and these thoughts. So we might shut down. Okay. We might pull away. So this would be not responding to someone. This is where ghosting comes in. Shut down. I feel so upset and so hurt. I can't respond. Pull away. Or sometimes we go the other way when other people are upset with us or they've been triggered and then we get triggered. We might lean in. and try to fix the situation. We have to make sure everybody's happy. We have to make sure everyone's okay, or if someone else is struggling, just saying, I'm responsible to make sure they're okay. That's different than telling the truth and treating others the way you want to be treated. It has more of an energy of I have to be enough. Okay. So I'm not a good mom if my kid is struggling, or I'm not a good father if my son is, having a hard time at school, or needing to be the one that fixes it for you to feel enough. That's where these behaviors are. This will also be like where, when you're crying or yelling or getting passive aggressive, withdrawing. This is also where we self-harm. So this is unloving thoughts and behaviors, or unloving behaviors towards others, and then unloving behaviors to ourselves. So this could be overeating, undereating. This could be your behavioral addictions, could be gambling, gaming, porn, shopping, spending money that you don't really have, um, using substances. So getting high, getting drunk, or it could be something like just doing a Netflix binge because that's your best at that moment. And we're not placing judgment on it. We're not saying that these behaviors are bad. They're calls for love, right? So you're calling for love when you're doing something with the energy of, I'm doing this because I'm not enough, right? And that's kind of why we get stuck into addictions and unloving behaviors to ourselves, because it's coming from the emotions of feeling anxious, depressed, lonely, unlovable, and then the thoughts of I'm not enough, right? I'm not lovable. And then you're going to get, when you have this dynamic, so this is the outcomes you're going to have. So you're going to feel alone, right? So when you pulled away from a relationship, instead of communicating your feelings authentically, people won't feel as emotionally safe around you. So when we are not able to share our truth in a loving way, and be emotionally vulnerable. So vulnerability is not the same as like lamenting or making yourself a victim, but be able to say, hey, I'm feeling like this. I know this is my responsibility to heal, but this is my best in this moment. Can you help me? That's an example of be able to build emotional intimacy by being vulnerable. And then we'll also have an unhealthy body because we've been struggling with addiction or overeating or undereating, and chemical anxiety. So again, from being on that roller coaster of substance use or not sleeping because you were up really, really late, ruminating about how this is the worst thing and how you need to fix this. Okay. And then you'll struggle with sleep because of behaviors that you may have had as well. This can affect your work life, financially, and your self-care. So then again, the continued behaviors of not loving yourself or not showing love to yourself. Okay. So that's your actions. So your thoughts, your feelings, what you do, and then your outcomes. All right. Now we're going to, now at then the bottom of this page on both of them, it's positive affirmations, and you can do the same thing on both, which is going to be, how are you going to like counter this? How are you going to counter this kind of psychology, this kind of thinking? So it's I am lovable, right? I am enough. Others can struggle and I can have peace. Where does that come from? That comes from accepting things outside of your control. Taking action within your control, that's loving. So when we tell the truth and we treat others the way we want to be treated, we can say, okay, well, I did my best. That's all I can do. And then the rest is up to them. Right. So the second component of this worksheet is the thoughts that are going to bring you healing. So first we reflect on how the thoughts that you're having right now are causing you suffering. Now we're going to look, okay, if I had different thoughts, what would my life be like? So let's say we had these thoughts instead. We have the thoughts, I'm lovable, I am enough always. My best is enough. Others express love or call for love, and it's not personal. It's not about you. I'm not responsible for others, their thoughts, emotions, and actions. I'm just responsible for my thoughts, emotions, and actions. So if you're not having deep peace, there's something for you to correct. So when you take full responsibility for that, you're going to have different emotions. And the emotions that you're going to have, we're going to pull up that feeling wheel again so that you can do this with me. All right. So here's some emotions. We're going to be looking at this section here. Okay. You can pause it if you want to pull that up. and write out for yourself. So you're going to feel more happy. You're going to feel content, proud, accepted. So when other people are like, oh, we don't like you, you can still feel accepted because you accept yourself. People can abandon you and you not feel abandoned because you don't abandon yourself. When you, so let's say you don't get the promotion at work, or your kid talks back to you, whatever it might be, you can still feel valued. You can still feel respected because you know that you're valuable. You know that you respect yourself. That's going to be the key to hold the frame so that these behaviors outside of you don't affect you. That's also going to make you feel really successful and proud. Okay. Powerful too. This is ultimate power. When you have power over your mind and nobody can make you feel mad or sad or anxious because you've fully taken responsibility for your emotions. Yeah, it's different than the whole world has been conditioned to be. But when you can do that for yourself, you have so much power. Okay. You can feel peaceful. So I think I prepared some feelings there. I'm gonna pull those down for you. And we're gonna zoom in there. So when you have those thoughts, you're going to feel happy, peaceful, content, playful, powerful, hopeful, trusting, valued, respected, successful, and accepted, regardless of what's happening outside of you or how other people are treating you. And that is going to cause you to have the following outcomes. What you're going to do. Sorry, these are what you're going to do. So you're going to, oh, I'm all over the place. Okay, see if I can gear this down. You got this. All right. See how I talk to myself? You got this, Amanda. Okay. I would set boundaries as an act of love to others, and I would respond to their calls for love with love. Okay. So when you know you're enough, that's what's going to give you the capacity to treat others in a loving way. I will be gentle with myself when I'm struggling or I've made a mistake. I will talk with love to myself and others. Okay. I will be in non-resistance and accept things outside of my control. I will tell the truth and treat others how I want to be treated, including setting boundaries. And I will treat my body with love. That means I will move with love. I will eat with love. I will avoid things that cause my body harm. I'm not going to get plastered on the weekend because I wouldn't feel loving to my body. I'm going to be aware of how different substances affect my body. And if it's not, bringing me, peace and joy and a sense of like physical stability into my life, and it's creating this roller coaster of dependence, and I'm going to look at that and I'm going to say, okay, I want to release this as an act of love to myself. Our capacity to release addictions is always going to come from our capacity to love ourselves. And this isn't just chemical, it also could be behavioral. I love myself so much, I'm not going to get into a Netflix series because I struggle to have healthy boundaries with myself to be able to not watch 5 episodes at once. So being able to set boundaries with yourself as an act of love, maybe, or maybe you can watch a Netflix series, but you give yourself a boundary of I'm going to watch 1 or 2 episodes. So again, those are behavioral addictions. There's chemical addictions. There's many different ways that we can self-harm. But the difference is that when we shift, we can have this thought that we're lovable, we'll have the emotions that bring us peace, and then we're going to have behaviors that are loving, and then outcomes is we're going to have healthy relationships with others. Now, does that mean every single person's going to like you and think you're the best thing since sliced bread? Absolutely not. And we don't need everyone to like us. That's not our goal. Our goal is our peace. Above all else is your peace. Now, if you treat anyone in a way that you wouldn't want to be treated, you will hurt yourself. That's where where the safety is, so that we're not just jerks in the world. Well, I don't care what anybody else thinks about me, so I'll just be unloving to them. If you treat someone the way you wouldn't want to be treated, it will cause you harm. You can't attack another person and not attack yourself. So if you are giving them love, compassion, boundaries, gentle correction, and you're treating them the way you want to be treated, they still might be like, this is too much for me. I want you to be codependent. I want you to do whatever I want you to do. And if you're saying no to me, I don't like you, and I'm going to attack you and I'm going to leave you. That's okay. So then we've shifted into non-resistance. We accept things outside of our control. We cannot make people love themselves enough to be capable of loving us. That's outside of our control. But we can love ourselves enough to be able to see the truth, release people, and release the idea that we can control them. Okay, so this is going to create peace. Having these thoughts, you can have peace, and that's our goal, right? Our goal is above all else choosing peace. I can always choose peace instead. I have the ability to help others help themselves by loving them when they're hurting, including releasing them. So sometimes the most loving thing for you to do is to not be in somebody's life because you continue to be in their life is causing them harm because they think that they're causing you harm, right? So if someone believes that they're hurting you, then the guilt and the shame of that is going to cause them self-attack. And then again, that's going to reinforce the cycle. So it can be the most loving thing if you're in a relationship with somebody that doesn't love themselves. The most loving thing you would be able to do would be actually to leave that relationship as an act of love. And it may end up being the catalyst for their change. We don't leave people just to have them suffer so they change. But if this is something you don't want to do and it doesn't feel loving and you're really activating them a lot, even if you're able to be calm, it is the most loving thing for you to release them. You'll also have a healthy body and mind. You'll take really good care of your body. Body's not going to be perfect. You're not going to reverse aging or stretch marks or scars. It's not about that, but as healthy as you can possibly be, that will naturally come about because you're acting from a place of love. You're moving with love. You're eating with love. And you're going to be able to release any addictions. So you're going to be able to feel chemically stable all day. Now, this goal that we're getting to, these outcomes, it might be 10 years down the road. Our goal is not to be like, I have to relieve all addictions for me to be happy. It always starts with the mind first. So it's first shifting the thoughts to these healed thoughts. I'm lovable. I'm enough always. My best is enough. When we shift first that, everything will come into play. And what happens is because healing's not linear, what you'll do is you'll be on the path. It'll feel really good for a while, and then you'll step off of it. And you'll get back on, you'll step back off of it. And every time you step off and get back on, you're actually reinforcing the learning to be able to get to a place where maybe you have no addictions or people don't trigger you at all, and you can have perfect peace all the time. But that's somewhere we're aiming. It's not an instant fix, okay? It's a lot of conditioning that we have to go through because we've been conditioned our whole life to think a different way. And now we have to undo that. And this is why meditation practices and those self-regulation practices bringing into stillness so that you can calm the body, so that you can use the CBD to shift the thoughts. Okay. And again, the positive affirmations at the bottom is really just identifying I'm lovable, I'm enough, I'm worthy always, and I only deserve love. And your best is enough. Okay, there's nothing you have to do, ought to do, or should do. All right, close that. And I think you should be able to see me now. So I'm gonna, so these two worksheets are below. If you haven't already found them, you can print them out. You can, go and do them on the computer on an Adobe program, or you can just write in your journal. Just write in your journal. What are the current thoughts you're having? What are the emotions that provokes? What are the behaviors you're having? And then what are the outcomes are you having? And then do the next side. Okay, what if I had these thoughts instead? So they should be contrast to the thoughts that are causing you suffering. So the suffering thoughts are what are not true. So what's the truth? Let's find the truth. The truth is that you're enough, right? And then the emotions that come when you believe the truth, and then the behaviors that are going to come when you believe the truth, and then the outcomes you're going to have in your life when you believe the truth. And then you do the affirmations at the bottom where you're reminding yourself of the truth that you are so lovable, worthy, and enough. And so is everybody else, that you never deserve attack, neither do they. And incorporating the healed mind therapy principles into this worksheet. And this is one of the reasons why we don't do this right away. And we kind of do a little bit of a build up, but we're going to be doing more of these worksheets. Hopefully that's helpful. And I hope you have a beautiful day. Okay.